This is the incredible story of the most extraordinary Pekin duck that I have ever seen. It was a cold winter morning when a farmer was collecting duck eggs in his farmyard. He had a small flock of Pekin ducks, but they were all laying unusually small clutches of eggs, just 2 or 3 at a time, which wasn't ideal for breeding. So he was surprised when he found a clutch of 12 eggs under one of the hens, and even more surprisingly, when he candled them, he could see that all 12 were fertile. A few days later, he noticed that one of the eggs was emitting a very soft, unusual glow. At first, he thought it might be a trick of the light, but as he watched, the glow grew brighter and brighter, until it was clear that the egg was actually glowing from within. He turned to leave, but then he stopped and looked back at the egg. He couldn't explain why, but he felt compelled to take care of this glowing egg. And so he did. He wrapped it carefully in a towel and put it in an incubator. And then he waited. To his astonishment, after only 28 days, the egg began to hatch. But it wasn't hatching in the way that he expected. Instead of the normal loud, excited peeping, there was only a soft, barely audible tapping. And when he looked inside, he saw that the little duckling inside was struggling to get out. It was clear that something was wrong, but he didn't know what to do. He didn't want to pull the duckling out, but he also couldn't bear to watch it struggle. Then he had a sudden idea. He carefully put the egg in a bowl of warm water and gently rocked it back and forth. And then, just as he was about to give up, he heard a tiny crack. The egg hatched and out popped the most vibrant and beautiful Pekin duckling he had ever seen. Its feathers were a rich, deep blue, almost black, and its eyes were bright, inquisitive and full of wonder. As soon as it was born, the duckling began to explore its surroundings, waddling around the room, making funny noises and trying to figure out where it came from and where it was going. But it wasn't just any ordinary duckling. It was remarkably intelligent, almost as if it had been born, knowing everything already. The farmer was astounded by the duckling's intelligence, but he was even more surprised by its uncanny ability to mimic sounds. The duckling seemed to have an almost photographic memory when it came to sound, being able to imitate any noise perfectly after hearing it only once. It was as if the duckling was trying to communicate with him, as if it wanted him to know that it was different, that it was special. And then there was the glow. The duckling seemed to glow whenever it was happy, and it would often glow brightly when it heard certain sounds or when it saw certain things. It was as if the duckling was somehow able to harness the power of the universe itself. The duckling's first quacks echoed with an ancient, almost forgotten melody that stirred something deep within the farmer's soul. He couldn't shake the feeling that this was no ordinary duckling. This was a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence, a miracle, a sign from the universe itself. And as it turned out, the duckling's hatching coincided with a rare astronomical event that subtly enhanced the duckling's already remarkable abilities. The duckling's presence on the farm began to have an effect on other animals, too. They seemed to sense that the duckling was special and they would often gather around it, gazing at it in wonder. And then, quite unexpectedly, the duckling solved a mystery that had been puzzling the farmer for years. It had always been a mystery that he'd almost given up on solving. A mystery that had to do with the strange occurrences on the farm. And it was all thanks to the duckling's unique abilities. The duckling had somehow been able to tap into the energy of the earth itself, and it used this ability to help the farmer solve the mystery. And so the duckling's story became a legend on the farm, a story that was passed down from one generation to the next. And to this day, people still talk about the extraordinary Pekin duck that hatched from a glowing egg.